What it do, Sports Betting Nation? Ace is high here with you. I got the man, the myth, the legend, sitting in the hot seat today, Mr. Hardways. Mike, how you doing, Hardways?
I'm doing great, Aces. It's a beautiful day outside. Now, I do understand you were in the land of bratwurst and cheese this past week, so you might be a little out of the loop on Major League Baseball and other sports. Is that correct?
That is correct. I am out of the loop, other than the fact that I had the luxury of being in Wisconsin when the Braves were busy whooping up on the Brewers, and it was a fantastic thing, let me tell you.
I'm sure you didn't head into town much when that was going on, but I'm not sure if you caught our podcast. We had a little technical difficulty earlier in the week. While we had the Cubs and White Sox, we had the Crosstown Classic as our series spotlight. I couldn't get a podcast out in time for the second game, so we did two this week. But just to recap the series spotlight from earlier in the week, the Cubs beat the White Sox 7-3 on Tuesday, and then the White Sox lost again to the Cubs 10-7 on Wednesday. So the Crosstown Classic so far was swept, and then by the Cubbies, and then we did the Dodgers and the Reds won 6-5 on Friday. The Dodgers won 3-2 on Saturday, and then the Reds won again 9-0 yesterday afternoon. So the Dodgers dropped 2-3 to the Reds. The Reds have retaken first place in the NL Central, and as a Reds NL Central ticket holder, I'm stoked.
Hey, I want to bring up something, and I was hoping those nerds over there in our social media team would take care of this, but they didn't. I listened to all the episodes. You did a fantastic job holding down the fort by yourself last week, let me tell you. But you threw out a plus EV bet at the end of the episode. I believe it was Friday, for the Cubs and Cardinals. And then we know what happened with Mr. Tachman. No, Mr. Mike Tachman robbing a home run to win the game, seal the deal for the Cubbies against their hated rival, the Cardinals. And anyone listening to this podcast, you might not even know this, Mr. Hardways. Anyone listening to this podcast is probably happy right now because that plus 310 under covered with that robbed home run. How about them apples?
You know, I didn't even put that together. You're absolutely right. I watched it. I was just so stunned by the play, Alec Burleson's dejected look, Mike Tauchman's celebrate. It looked like they won the pennant. That I didn't even put that together. You're right. That under plus EV bet that we talked about on Friday's podcast came in because of that play. That is absolutely incredible. Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was just an amazing. And you watch baseball at least I shouldn't say you. You probably do, but I know me for sure. I watch it every year. I'm like, man, that was the coolest play I've ever seen. Man, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And every year it keeps coming. And after watching that, after knowing that we had a plus 310 in our pocket on the line, he robs that home run. I mean, it really doesn't get more exciting than I know all we really have to talk about is baseball these days, but baseball is exciting, baby.
Baseball is exciting. And I know our social media team, I pointed out a couple of other great defensive plays over the weekend. Nolan Arenado throwing a runner out from his knees from beyond the third base bag. Oof. And then I believe it was James Outman went up and robbed Joey Votto of a home run yesterday. So it was a great defensive weekend. And while it might seem like we only have baseball right now, we do have the Women's World Cup going on. We'll get into that. And also, this is super exciting. Last Thursday was the last Thursday for 6 months that we didn't have football because we have NFL football coming back on Thursday. Training camps are in full force. We have the NFL Hall of Fame game coming up this coming Thursday. Exciting times.
Hey, I'm more excited about college football, but I know you like your NFL. I like my college football. Hey, we can make some money still, though. We got to wait for those to come. Unless you're doing futures tickets, we can still make some money today, right?
Absolutely. No doubt at all. And in fact, baseball is still our bread and butter this time of year. There's plenty of opportunities. In fact, we got the Reds and the Cubs tonight, 7:05 p.m. Central Time on the mound for the Cubs. Went over to our SBI Today page, the MLB Today page on our SBI website so we could see who's on the mound. We got Marcus Stroman on the mound for the Cubs. He's got a 10-7 record with 3.51 ERA. Across from him, we got Andrew Abbott on the mound for the Reds, 6-2 record with a really nice 1.90 ERA for there. But the Cubs are actually the favorite in this. Did you look at that line at all?
Yeah, they came out a big favorite on the open. They came out at that minus 145, minus 150 number against these Reds. The Reds coming out at that plus 125. It's been bet now closer to a pick 'em, but we still do have the Cubs. I believe on all the books are favored, but definitely the favorite on the best line, Bet Rivers. I stay away from this one. I like the Cubs a little too much, I guess, in my heart, a little too much space for them in my heart. So I'll stay away from this one because it might be my love of the Cubs talking when I say take that minus 118.
That minus 118 is a pretty good line. As you mentioned, it opened up pretty high, minus 145, it looks like. And the reason the Cubs are the favorites is probably because they've been playing really great ball as of late. Other than losing yesterday, they did get shut out yesterday by the Cardinals 3-0. They had a 9-10 game win streak, something like that. If you do want to back the Reds, They are also really hot right now, plus 104 there. And it is in Wrigley Field, but Cincinnati's not that far from Wrigley. You can get plus 104 over on FanDuel Sportsbook for the Reds. That's a pretty good one. Another one that we should probably take a look at is of the Braves and the Angels. Yes?
Huge game, huge series, really. I think we got a 3-game series coming up. We got, Mr. Morton on the mound. You did you have to look at this line to know who was the favorite, Mr. Hardways?
Not at all. In fact, I'm a little shocked that it's only minus 210. That's the best line that we see. You can get that at a few places, including FanDuel, BetRivers, and PointsBet. But I thought that was going to be close to the minus 230 line with Charlie Morton on the mound. But the Angels have also been playing great ball. So who knows?
Yeah, I'm not going to bet the Braves minus 210. It actually opened at minus 245, which is probably the number you were alluding to. You expected, hey, you nailed the open. You should be a line originator, Mr. Hardways. But it got bet down to minus 210. It's just, we talked about it before I think actually last Monday, I was talking about the Padres, I believe, and how they were huge favorites. And you get really good money if you faded them. You know what happened? The Padres lost. It's baseball. Any team can lose, but I'm not going to bet against Mr. Charlie Morton on the mound, and I'm not going to take that minus 210 number. So I'll stay away from this one.
Well, the Angels have made it very clear they're not trading Shohei Ohtani. They are making a push for the playoffs. In fact, they made a couple of moves earlier over the weekend. They're trying to get into the wild card. They're only 4 games back. As you see on, I think it was Thursday last week, Shohei, he pitched a complete game shutout and hit 2 home runs in the same game. I don't even know what to say about that.
No, but I did see that if you guys follow us over there on Twitter, our team over there, they tweeted out he had 3 home runs in 3 at-bats in a row. Is that
he
correct?
Had 2. So 2 on Thursday, and then his very first bat on Friday was a home run. So 3 in a row, 3 at-bats in a row for Shohei Ohtani. He's absolutely murdering my Matt Olson home run, regular season home run leader ticket that I've got over on DraftKings. I am just... Shohei, I love him. I love watching him. He's such a dynamic player, but I'm like, hey, I'm trying to make some money here, Shohei. You got to understand that.
Yeah, and we're talking about the game today with Mr. Morton on the mound. I love how the Salt Man has caught on. Even Mr. Hardways is using the Salt Man. I'm not going to take complete credit for it, but I was one of the originators of that Salt Man. But he's on the mound today for the Braves. Something we got to watch out for, and maybe we can talk on the podcast tomorrow, is looking at that Braves-Angels game tomorrow. They're expecting Mr. Strider on the mound, who's just been lights out, and then Mr. Sandoval up on the other side. So it'd be interesting to see where this line comes out. I don't think it'll come out at that minus 245 number, even though Strider is a better pitcher than Morton, just because he's going up against Sandoval, and you never know with Sandoval. And you did mention how the Angels have been hot lately, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. If you guys are out looking at lines, tonight, late tonight, when they pop this one up, check and see where that line's at. Might get a lot of movement in that game tomorrow.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm surprised it's not up yet on DraftKings. DraftKings usually has some late or some early games up for Tuesday, but I don't see it up there yet. Oh, actually, no, I do say it. It's minus 250, looks like, with Strider on the mound. Oof. They just pop it up here just a few minutes ago. So you got Sandoval on the mound, as you mentioned, for the Angels, plus 205. Spencer Strider, minus 250. That is a big line right there for the Braves tomorrow. But we've got today and this week, we've got some great series going on. We've got the Orioles and the Blue Jays are facing off, and the Blue Jays, 59 and 47. The Orioles have just been playing great baseball right now. They're 64 and 41. They are currently leading the AL East by, 1.5 games over Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay has cooled off a little bit, but yeah, the Orioles, but the Blue Jays, it is in Toronto. The Blue Jays are the favorite in this game, minus 130, best line that I'm seeing over on the SBI Game Board. You can get that on DraftKings and BetMGM. If you want to back the Orioles, plus 117 over on BetRivers. Do you have any thoughts on this game?
I mean, I wish I was getting this line and Bassett wasn't on the mound. I really like how the Orioles open minus 105, and we're now getting that plus 117 number to back Gibson over there for the Orioles. I mean, now that you point this game out, I might drop a little bit on the Orioles. If I do it, I'm doing on that BetRivers plus 117. That is the best number that we're seeing. Let me actually check out. We'll check our SBI MLB Game Board and see for Orioles. If you're betting 200, yeah, you're getting 234 back on that. If you're betting somewhere else, I mean, MGM, you're only getting 220 back. That's a $14 difference. So make sure you're betting your book. But looking at that, yeah, maybe I do drop a little bit on the Orioles here.
The way that they've been playing, Kyle Gibson on the mound, plus 117, better than even money. It's tough not to back the Orioles. And for me, I've been watching baseball for decades, and seeing the Orioles do well is such a shock and surprise to me. I'm always, as soon as I see the Orioles line, I'm like, I'm not backing the Orioles. It's the Orioles, right? It's Baltimore. But they're doing really well this year, and I'm really happy about that. I'm excited. There is we got a late game tonight, 8:45 p.m. Central Time. It's an NL West showdown between the Diamondbacks and the Giants, and they are both trailing the Dodgers in the NL West standings, but they're both over 500. The Diamondbacks are 56 and 50, and the Giants are 58 and 48. So they're both doing pretty well. On the mound here for the Diamondbacks, you got Ryan Nelson. He's got a 6-5 record with a 4.97 ERA, and then you got Alex Cobb on the mound for the Giants, 6-3 record with a 2.97 ERA. So doing pretty well, as you can imagine. With that record, you've got the favorite in San Francisco minus 142 on DraftKings Sportsbook versus plus 125 for the Diamondbacks over on PointsBet. And that money line didn't move too much. It opened at plus 130, now plus 125. Thoughts on this game?
No, because everything I saw, they didn't have. You mentioned Cobb is starting. I didn't know that Cobb was starting. I didn't know that they had that settled yet. But these are two teams, like you mentioned, they both have winning records. That's not something I probably would have expected at the beginning of the year. They're two teams I don't really watch a lot. I don't know a whole lot about the numbers. Never got here. I'm not seeing anything with the numbers, so I'll stay away from this one.
That's fair. The Major League Baseball has given us quite a few really great matchups today, and it is a smaller slate. I think we've only got 8 or 9 games, and then we've got the full slate tomorrow, starting at 5:40 p.m. with the Phillies and the Marlins. It is Dinger Tuesday. As a reminder, make sure you opt into that over on FanDuel. That is our favorite day of the week. It's our favorite promotion amongst the sports bets. It's so much fun. We'll be tweeting out about that all day. Also, check our TikTok because we're doing all sorts of videos and we do a lot of fun stuff there on Tuesday. But that is it for today. I mean, for Major League Baseball, is there any other games that you want to touch on before we move on to the World Cup?
Yeah, there's one more, and I don't mind wasting time getting away from the World Cup because it's not something that Aces wants to talk about. But there's one we didn't talk about, the Brewers Nationals, and it's something where I'm going to back the Brewers today. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to back the Nationals today to beat the Brewers. Corbin Burns is on the mound.
That's a big Brewers line if you're going to back that.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna fade them, and the strategy I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fade them today, and I'm gonna fade them again tomorrow. Today they're getting a good number. You're getting that plus 180 number with Jake Irvin going against Burns, but Burns, as we all know, is a very good pitcher. So I'm just gonna take that plus 180, and then tomorrow, I'm gonna jump right back on them, and I'm gonna try to back. I believe they have Gray on the mound against Peralta, which you're not going to get as good of a number, but you're still going to get plus. You're going to get plus 130, 135, somewhere in that neighborhood. So between both of those, hoping to win one of the two at least. Plus 180 is a good number for a baseball team to win.
Plus 180 is really good. I mean, almost double your money on a $100 bet. That's a really good option there. I do like the Brewers, but man, minus 210, that is really expensive to pay for that team. I do want to mention real quickly, Aaron Judge is back in the lineup. He didn't play yesterday, but he played Friday and Saturday, and I think I mentioned on the podcast that he was back, and I was excited. I looked at his home run line, and I talked myself into placing a bet on Aaron Judge's home run, even though it was only plus 240, plus 250. Well, of course he hits a home run, so Hardways Mike was pretty happy about that on Saturday. He's back in the lineup today. Aaron Judge being back is super helpful, although the Rays are still the favorite in that, minus 144, minus 141 on Bet Rivers versus plus 126 on Caesars Sportsbook. What's interesting about this particular game on Caesars is they have a promotion today for this game in particular. You bet $50 on the money line of one of these teams, and then you get a $25 towards a free bet for every run that your team that you bet on gets in the 7th inning. So it's a good promotion. I recommend taking the Rays, even though, no surprise, Caesars has minus 150 as the worst line across the major sports books. Caesars have been known to do this where they kind of adjust their odds a little bit if they got promotions on it. But still, the Rays seem like the better bet just in that. And they're if you look at the odds to score a run in the 7th inning, they're more favored for that. So just want to mention that, get that out there. And also, baseball is better when Aaron Judge is back. Would you agree to that?
I agree. Baseball is better. It's more exciting.
If we look at his home runs today, I'm over on our SBI MLB player props page. The best odds that you can find, though, are plus 240 on FanDuel, and that's only 5 points higher than plus 235 on DraftKings. Really no value there. I wouldn't recommend it today. If you want to play it for fun, be my guest, but there's no big outlier here for Judge today to hit a home run.
I'll stay away from that one. I'm happy he's back, though.
I do want to shout out real quickly the 3M Open. Congratulations to Lee Hodges for winning that at a score of 24 under, 7 strokes better than Kevin Streelman, and Matthew Laird, who tied at 17. Oh, and JT Poston also at 17 under. He took a 5-stroke lead coming into the 3rd round and just never looked back. So good for Lee Hodges. We do have another one coming up later this week, the Wyndham Championship. That's at Sedgefield Country Club in Greensboro, North Carolina. Im's the favorite in that, plus 1,600. Hideki Matsuyama, plus 1,800. I love him this week. Sam Burns at plus 2,000. And Shane Lowry and Russell Henley both, and Adam Scott at plus 2,200. I know you don't have many thoughts on that, but there is another tennis tournament coming up, is there not?
Well, the U.S. Open that's coming up. It always started college football. We got to little less than a month now. So we got to start looking at those futures, right? You ever bet the U.S. Open futures for tennis anyway?
Yeah, I do. Not this far out usually, but as we draw nearer to it, I would certainly bet that it would be U.S. Open is late August. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep, late this month. It'll actually start up, I think, in a couple weeks, 3 weeks. It'll start up. So, I mean, looking at the lines right now, it's kind of exciting to see. We got what they think will be a matchup again between Alcaraz and Djokovic, and there's only 2 horses in this race. Let me tell you, that's what the lines makers are saying. But if you're betting these futures bet, man, make sure you're looking at what books are. I'm comparing right now FanDuel to DraftKings, and I hate to say it, but DraftKings is just smoking them with the odds that you're getting. So I guess I'll quote DraftKings: Alcaraz plus 150, Djokovic plus 175, and then you drop all the way down to Medvedev plus 1400 with Mr. Nadal. You're getting the Spaniard, Mr. Rafael Nadal plus 1400. I believe the term is always trust a Spaniard. Nope.
That's correct. That's what we say over here at SBI. Always trust a Spaniard because they always come through for us.
They do. And then if you want Jannik Sinner, he's also at that plus 1400 number. Holger Rune, somebody that we've talked about on this podcast a few times now, sitting plus 2500. I don't know if I'd call that a flyer, but it's good money. Taylor Fritz plus 2800, Berrettini plus 3500. That's somebody I might lay money on. But then I'm going to jump all the way down to my man, Mr. Stefanos Tsitsipas, who has not been playing well. Mr. Tits has not been performing, but he's all the way at plus 4,000 right now if you're looking at DraftKings. If you want FanDuel, he's at plus 2,200. That's the kind of odds difference we're talking about here. It's incredible.
Wow, that is a stunning difference. That is 1,800 point difference there for just one guy to win the U.S. Open less than a month out. That is surprising. And if you're going to bet Tsitsipas, you said that was on DraftKings there?
Yeah, DraftKings is. I can't say it's the best line. I haven't looked at all the books, but it's definitely better than FanDuel. So that good number was on DraftKings.
That's why it's always important to line shop. When it comes to futures, they can vary wildly. A lot of books have different models, or did they apply different juice to it? So be sure you are finding the best line for that. Now, the Women's World Cup is also going on. It's been an exciting tournament so far. It started out pretty low scoring. It has changed significantly. It has been a lot of scoring thus far. On Wednesday, the U.S. women's national team struggled to a draw against the Netherlands. They were big favorites in their first game. They ended up winning that, of course, and they were favorites in this, and they did a draw. So the U.S. women's national team has been underperforming, so to speak. They're still the favorite at plus 275 to win. This is odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. And then the team that I thought was going to make some noise, Spain, actually I was going to put a little on them to win last night, but their match had started against Japan. They were plus 300 coming into last night, but they lost to Japan. Japan was plus 320 on the money line, and Spain lost to Japan 4-0. 4 goals to nothing. Spain couldn't muster a goal against a Japanese team. That was very surprising and changed the odds. Spain is now plus 400. I'm glad that the futures are locked, and I hadn't put it on Spain yet.
Well, you're the only one betting those. I can say I haven't lost one bet on the World Cup, so I'm doing a little better than you.
That's fair. I actually am going to be staying up tomorrow night. We've got, actually late tonight, starting at 2 a.m. this morning, we got Portugal and the USA. I'm going to try to catch the first half of that because I'm really excited for this USA women's national team, mostly because of the futures they have on it. But last night we had Costa Rica losing to Zambia 1-3, and then Australia blanking Canada 4-0. Ireland and Nigeria tied 0-0. As I mentioned, USA still plus 275, Spain plus 400. England has now jumped up to plus 600, and Germany plus 750. They're making a little bit of noise. Japan has jumped all the way up to plus 900. So we've got several more days worth of group play before we get into the matches, and we'll see who moves on from the groups. We'll keep you posted on that. I know it's not your favorite sport, Aces, but without Major League Soccer and without international soccer, the World Cup is all we got right now.
Yeah, you got to take what you can get. We got college football futures though. Hey, you know what, Hardways? Today, you know what arrived in the mail? My Phil Steele college football preview magazine. So we got that coming up. I'm so here. Oh, it makes me so excited. I've been too nervous to open it, so I haven't actually opened it and read it yet. But man, I'm gonna sit down, read that thing cover to cover. Every year, I get real excited about that Phil Steele college football preview. That's where I get all my information from. I just absolutely love it. And we have no affiliation with them. Don't get me wrong. I just straight up love that product. And that's why I thought I'd mention it. But I'm real excited to rip that thing open and get going. We got that coming up. College football. It's going to be great.
Yeah. What do you order that online, or do you have a subscription? How does that work with that magazine in particular?
Well, I order it online now. I used to always go to Barnes and Noble to get it, but Those are tough to find these days. Amazon's kind of eating their lunch, I think, which is, I order it on Amazon now. It comes to me in the mail, and then I get too nervous and I just want to wait before I open it. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to open it today, and I'm finally going to get down to read it, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, that's exciting. College football starts up very, very quickly. As I mentioned, NFL training camps are going on. As a reminder, we are pulling NFL college football lines right now. Go over to our NCAA football game board. You can see one game that I'm really excited about that I will certainly have on the TV is Purdue versus Fresno State. Purdue's the favorite in that, minus 210 over at Caesar Sportsbook. Fresno State plus 190. So kind of a narrow width there on those money lines between Purdue and Fresno State. That's at 11 a.m. on Saturday, September 2nd. So that's week 1. And go over to our social media. We're posting a ton of videos. This is the time to get hyped up and overreact to training camp videos. I've seen some incredible catches. Justin Jefferson, just one-handed, absolute grab for sure. If he wasn't the first overall pick before, he certainly is now. I do want to leave the people with a couple of plus EV bets as we try to do over on the podcast. For today's game, you're going to like this one, Aces. We got the Atlanta Braves run line, -4. I know it's a lot, -4. Over on Bet Rivers. Remember, the Braves are minus 210 on the money line here. So -4 at plus 300. That's a 4.7% plus EV bet. That is over on Bet Rivers, and that's for today's Braves game. If you're looking for something with a little more reasonable odds, you can get a plus 3.4% plus EV bet for tomorrow's Yankees and Tampa Bay game. So the Rays versus the versus the Yankees. Under 8 runs in that game over on DraftKings. That's even money, plus 100. So 2 bets there. Under 8 in tomorrow's Yankees-Rays game on DraftKings at plus 100. And then in today's Brave game, the Braves alt-run line of -4 over on Bet Rivers at plus 300.
Hey, plus 300, full unit size, baby. Hammer that thing. Let me tell you, Braves been whipping up. They whooped up on the Brewers. I don't know that they won a game by less than 4. So, hey, I'm going to take my shot.
There you go. That's it for us today. Anything you want to leave the people with, Aces?
No, we talked about college football. I want to mention, too, sportsbettingintel.com. Over here, we just started pulling NFL odds, too. So for you NFL guys, you want to check out those week 1 matchups, or even farther down the road, they got a lot of matchups down. We're starting to pull those now on sportsbettingintel.com, the NFL odds.
Okay, that is really exciting. I was not aware of that. I'll have to let our social media team know so they can get that out there. Now's the time to start looking at that. Let's just look at one line real quick. Go up and we'll pull up just searching through. Let's look at okay, so the Eagles -198 on DraftKings Sportsbook versus the Patriots plus 185 over on PointsBet. We are pulling lines. That is really exciting. That'll be it for us today. We'll talk more NFL, more NCAA college football. We got a lot of stuff coming up this month and into the start of the season. As we say over here at SBI, you don't always have to bet, but when you do, wager wisely.